Darkstar, was always going to be Bryson DeChambeau. It was always going to be Bryson, and there's reasons for that. Yes, it was extremely exciting down the stretch. Yes, McIlroy was there, and yes, he missed 2 short putts. Well, really only one, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, he missed them technically too, of course. But there were very different putts. Why was it always going to be Bryson? There's reasons. We said this last week, but why, in your view, was it always going to be Bryson?
Well, first of all, I sat there when Rory took a 2-shot lead, and I said to myself, God, how's he going to blow this one? Because I knew Bryson was going to win. And you look back and you say, first of all, came down to Bryson and Rory because despite the USGA's efforts, driving distance was by far the most important statistic. And when Rory and Bryson hit it out in the sand all week, if they just missed it, Bryson is a better wedge player. In fact, it was an advantage for Bryson to be hitting out of the sand because he got more spin on the ball and he held the greens better. We'll talk about Sergio later because Sergio kept hitting the middle of the green. A couple of them would roll off. But Rory I don't understand why he is not just focusing on fixing his wedge game. So it was a driver wedge U.S. Open, and Rory does not have the wedges. So overall, Rory did what Rory always does. He's such a great player. He's in there at the end. He makes his charge because he's the greatest come-from-behind player because it frees up his putting. So he made all those, what did he make, 3 20-footers, a 14-footer. He takes a lead, and then all of a sudden he turns back into Rory, who has some mental issues on the golf course, off the golf course. It's been a shame to see his deterioration mentally with all the live aspects, the personal aspects with his wife. Meanwhile, in juxtaposition, Bryson DeChambeau couldn't be in a better mental place. He's happy as a clam on the Live Golf Tour. He's rested because he plays on the Live Golf Tour. He's not playing signature. I mean, I think I mentioned before, Scotty Scheffler after winning Memorial has no chance to repeat. And one of the reasons I'm going to talk about right now, besides Bryson being more mentally rested, Live guys played in Houston on a similar grass. PGA guys played on bent grass with thick rough the week before. That's an adjustment period. I don't care who you are, how much golf you played. If you just grinded it out in Columbus on bent, and then you come to Pinehurst on Bermuda, sandy Bermuda, that's tough. So the Live guys in general had a lot going for them, and especially Bryson. And Bryson's DeChambeau's game is in a great place right now. So down the stretch, it just came to once Rory took the lead, you knew he was going to lose it. And whether it was 1 hole or 5 holes, he was just going to lose the lead. He's just not in a place mentally to win.
Nor really has he. Let me say this to you. Has he ever been in a place really mentally to win?
Yes. Even Rory admits it. When he was young, he talked about he was a killer.
He wins the soaking wet U.S. Open in D.C. And then he wins he wins the PGA over Mickelson, raining, and get called up there, with the questionable ruling, letting him hit in, and rain's coming, I guess. Then what was the other thing? I think he just, okay. Well, it's not that my point here. I think you just backed up my point. To be mentally tough and mentally in a great place, you have to have, challenge. You have to be in a position that you need to be strong mentally. I don't think he's ever really been. You tell me. You're a better grasper of historical fact because you remember it better than I do. Where has he ever demonstrated in a major that the chips were down and he needed to call upon the mental toughness and the mental confidence to win?
Yeah, I don't have an example. I can tell you, I knew what the question was going to be.
We know what he does when he sees pressure, when he sees something that's uncomfortable for his persona. What does he do? He runs away.
Okay, I agree. That's his mental
hello,
game.
fiance. I'm not going to meet with you. I'm just going to call you. It's going to be an awkward call. And I can't wait to hang up the phone. Are you kidding me? You talk about weak. Go see the girl. What's a big? She's not going to hit you. She's not going to shoot you in the face. Go talk to her. You owe her that.
Right.
Wife has a little bit of a problem now, 10 years later. What's he do? He files divorce papers. But then she comes to him and says, whatever, I forgive you, or it's not so. Oh, who knows? I don't know the details there, why, but now it's off in like 3 weeks. He reverses course. Now he can't reverse course again, but what are the odds that he reverses courses again? Does Mr. 540 here, this is him. He's Mr. 540 that shows up everywhere. Golf reveals character. And his character is
Jack
obvious.
Welch, let me cut you off for a second then, because back to the golf. Yes, it is his personal life.
He had a mental. He failed mentally. That's why I'm talking about it. It was a mental collapse. If you want to say collapse, collapse is a little harsh. It's not a collapse. He didn't collapse. That's not fair. He stumbled mentally.
Well, all right. So let's look at what everybody's talking about. The 2 putts. The putt on 16 was a pure mental collapse. 1, I have the lead. I hate having the lead. I'm not a good leader. I make all those 20-footers when I'm behind. And what did he say to himself over that putt when he took a little extra time? He's like, in the back of his mind, he's like, oh, I'm due to miss a putt. Shit. And he pulled it, and it was just a bad stroke. Now, the one on 18, unfortunately, is Rory where he's at when it comes to winning a major. He hit a great chip shot up to an impossible putt. I mean, the putt on 18
very difficult. It's not where you wanted to leave the ball. Yeah, it's not where you wanted it.
He couldn't leave the ball there.
The announcer should have said that. They didn't. They should have.
They did.
Somebody should have said, "Hey, that's not where you want it. That's going to be tricky."
Well, yeah, but there are no more. Johnny Miller's gone. There are no more real announcers.
Johnny was saying it in his living room. Absolutely. Right. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to be there."
Johnny's thinking like, I would have never hit the ball there because I know I'm not making that putt to win the U.S. Open.
You don't want that putt. You don't. Yeah. Nicholas could have drained it, but there aren't too many guys that are going to nail that every time. I mean, it was less than a 50% chance to make, or maybe 50%.
Nicholas and Tiger would have drained it. Even as great as a putter as Faxton, I don't see him making that.
Well, I told you, I hate to sneak in another comment, but while we're on the 18th putt, I think Tiger does make that. Yes. Because, and I said to you off the air this morning, to make that putt in my estimation, I think you have to hit it firmer than you would otherwise. You mentally know how to do that. You can adjust your normal speed for that putt to more speed, even though that's not your style, but you can do it. You know how to do it because you're a champion, and you can do it. I'm going to hit this harder because I don't care if I miss it.
Exactly.
It has to go in. And if it misses, I don't care. I'm just going to make the putt that I want to make. And that's let the chips fall where they may. And that's what Tiger would have done, no question about it. He would have been an assassin, and he probably would have made it because speed is what was needed. Nicholas would have made it because he's the best putter ever. And he just would have made the putt. And without adjusting anything, it just would have gone in.
Yeah, Nicholas would have played the break, hit it at the appropriate speed.
Correct.
Tiger
without any hesitation, he just would have stroked the ball perfectly, and it would have been the right speed and gone in. Exactly right. And Tiger would have made it a little differently with the speed, and Rory didn't know what to do.
Because either way, Tiger doesn't care about a 6-foot comeback because he knows, well, up the hill, I'm going to make the 6-footer blindfolded.
Well, he doesn't care about the 6-footer. He thinks that that's the tournament. If he misses this, it's probably over.
Anyway, so to finish that up, really, Rory missed one putt. The putt on 16 was the putt he missed.
Pull. He jerked it. He didn't just pull it. His hand stopped moving.
Yeah.
And the club head accelerated. The putter head outraced his hands, and he pulled it. Yeah. That was a choke.
The toe shut down. He pulled
Choked.
it.
Yeah, choked. That was bad. The putt on 18 was a good putt. He just missed it.
I think he thought he made the putt on 18. I think that's why he was more distraught about the fact that, and then I come back and I hit a great putt on 18 and it still doesn't go in. And the only disappointing thing for me with regard to Rory, and we've got to get back to DeChambeau because he really should be the headliner here. But the thing that disappointed me about Rory wasn't any of the golf or anything else. It was after the fact when they're showing him, and he knows he's on camera. And, DeChambeau is probably going to make the putt. After the putt goes in, you tell your guy, hey, take the bags, pack the crap up, but I got to go shake DeChambeau's hand. That was the only thing I was a little disappointed about.
Yeah, I didn't see him do that. Did he not do that?
No, he took off. He was so distraught. And I think that to me says that golf he's still not able to focus 100% on golf. Because if you're 100% focused on golf and your opponent was Bryson all day, you really, nobody else was going to win that tournament but Rory and Bryson in those last few groups. Let's be honest. Cantlay's still not ready is the point there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You go shake his hand. And that was the only disappointing thing. And I wonder, and DeChambeau has, since his first U.S. Open victory till now, has made leaps and bounds as a person, as a celebrity, and maturing to an unbelievable degree. Again, I think that's where a lot of this live golf was very good for these guys. He is now more of he has to be a leader. He's a team captain. He's a true leader.
Well, yeah, he credits. He gives Brooks Casey Koepka and Howell credit.
Yeah.
Casey, one of the best ball strikers on the planet, still. Yeah.
Is he better than Charles Howell?
At ball striking? Casey?
Yeah. I don't think so.
With the irons, yeah, I'd say, yeah. Casey's not. I think Howell has a better game through the bag. And I don't know Charles's game backwards and forwards. I'll be the first one to admit it. But he's got so many top tens. He's a machine, which means he's solid everywhere. I mean, he doesn't have any
I think
gaps.
Charles Howell was like over 25%, like top 25 finishes.
He's a Matt Kuchar machine. Yeah, just no weaknesses. Nothing, maybe not spectacular at anything. He's probably a little shorter than he needed to be. I don't know what Charles's gap was. Maybe it was mental. I don't know.
No, it was putting. 100%.
Putting, was it?
Well, same thing. Putting down the stretch.
Well, he and Casey have the same problem.
Yeah.
But they're both excellent ball, which is why that team does so well on Live. I mean, they're in the fairway. They hit all the greens.
Yeah.
And not to get too far off. So let's just wrap up Rory, then we can go full on with Bryson. So I he did what he always does lately, or always. Well, I said the point. I've never seen the guy. He's just not that guy. I don't know how you become that guy. Maybe I wouldn't even try at this point. He's too old. He's 35. I would not try to reinvent myself and become Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus. I would become Rory McIlroy. Well, what's the best version of me that I can be? Well, I'm not going to be a great mental guy. I'm just not. I'm conflicted, and maybe by the time I'm 60, I'll figure that out. But it probably isn't going to be in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and I need to win a Masters in that time frame. I must. And so I need to get out in front, or I just need to have such a good lead that I can't blow it, that I'm comfortable, or whatever the strategy would be. I don't know. Let's talk about that, and let's finish up Rory, because then we'll spend the rest of the time talking about Bryson. What does he need to do? If what I just said is true, what does he need to? What's his strategy? If you were coaching him, what is the strategy? Working with the tools that he has, not changing anything, especially the mental game, which is so hard to do. What do you do? What do you tell him? What are you working on for the next 10 months, getting ready for Augusta?
First of all, you're working on your wedge game to take pressure off of. He's got a little bit of Sergio in him, in the sense that down the stretch, I think he tries to hit the ball so close because I can't putt.
Oh, that is a nasty disease to have. I need to work on my wedge game.
I need to be confident that coming down the stretch at Augusta, if I pull that drive to the right on 15, I got to be able to hit it down the hill and make birdie the traditional way. And right now there is no. He would if he's on 15, he could be 230 out and got to weave it through 3 trees, play a schluck, something that hooks and then cuts, and he'd try to hit it versus. I am not laying this ball up and having to show my wedge game right now. And, if DJ can do it, certainly Rory can do it. So number one, He's got to fix the wedge game.
Well, give
I
me a
think the
distance.
putting's
What distance
okay.
where would you put him to hit 1,000 wedge shots a day, so to speak? 125 yards? More than that? Less than that?
Oh, no, 100, 120, 80 to 125 is
That's
where
where
he
you
needs to
want him.
really
All right.
work.
So I don't want to
Yeah.
see you with a driver in your hand for the next 5 days. I want you to get blisters hitting 80 to
Yeah,
125.
I mean, back in the day, one of the stats that I still don't believe is Tom Kite, who can't putt at all, got up and down 80% of the time from like 80 to 100 yards in one of his years. It's like, what? Tom Kite? He had to hit it to 3 feet every time.
Who would you?
So it's doable.
Oh yeah, he's got talent. It's a mental thing. So, and I'm saying he can't. He can fix that. I think the putting is. He'll never. He just won't feel comfortable. Yeah, I don't. I'm with you. I want pressure off that game. I have a wrinkle to talk about putting, but I will keep going. Who would you recommend, if anyone, he work with? I'm thinking of a player. What other player would you want next to him talking about that 80 to 125 game?
Well,
if anyone,
a player that he can talk to.
Yeah, someone that's going to help him. A big brother.
Yeah, the big brother that he should have in where he is at in his life and in his game is Luke Donald.
We'll leave it right there for this free preview of our Inner Circle podcast. Please join us. Click the upgrade button in the email you received or on the podcast page and get the rest of this episode and all our Inner Circle shows right here on the Thinking Man Inner Circle podcast, unfiltered and off script.